I'm in Eymundsson here for Megas, giving out a book about Megas, yes? And who am I talking to now?
You are talking to his third year. Yeah, we worked together for 25 years and we did together about 20 records and about 500 concerts. So, and he always referred to me as his third ear, which is basically a producer,
And so why is Megas so important here in Iceland?
Well, he really started the Icelandic independent music where you take 90-degree turns contrary to everything, because we were raised in a very sad radio culture, The Navy base had a radio and they were only playing, Elvis and some pop country shit. And the state radio was always playing some old, male choirs from the 30s. So yeah, classical music. So basically, we had a desert. So Megas was a voice in the desert, and also he was the first to really write pop music in Icelandic, like a dick.
And so he's still extremely famous here in Iceland.
Well, he's very controversial, and he always commits suicide every few years to start fresh, so yeah.
How does he commit suicide every few years?
Just by making everybody hate himself.
How?
Just by writing dirty songs.
Like what, for listeners who maybe don't know?
Well, he writes about very, almost taboo, topics, I can't even talk about it, it's such a taboo, so what he's writing about, so nothing is sacred to him, he can talk about child molesters, he can talk about, everything from heaven to earth.
So are you still performing with him?
Well, our last gig was at the Reykjavik Art Festival in 2010, but I'm so busy with my own music and he's so busy with his own music, and I think, 25 years collaboration, I think it's very good, because I'm probably the Icelander who has played with him on the most records and concerts, so we have to know when to call it a day, because usually I only work with people for 3 years, and then I kill the cooperation to start fresh, but I can't kill Megas, and we work together for 25 years, and I think it's very good, Back in the 60s, each and every Icelandic housewife was on psychotic drugs like Valium, Valium, and they were walking in their pink nightgowns, totally spaced out, because their husbands, they were so terrible, and the community was really, really hateful. So they lived on prescription drugs,
So he's been very controversial, and he's said a lot of things that maybe need to be said.
Exactly, like I said, yeah. He wrote about very controversial and he was turning stones and out came worms, and
He's the stone turner of Icelandic music.
Exactly, yeah. God Christ is my name as an artist, but my name is Gudlaugur Kristinn, which means fire of God Christian. Yeah. So I'm the fire of God Christian, or God Christ, the third ear of Megas.
The third ear of Megas.
Back here,
What else did he write was so controversial or shocking often? It was like the beautiful song about the little elephant boy?
Yeah, he was writing about gay homosexuals, and actually in his
more a love of a man to a beautiful young child in Thailand.
Yeah, the relationship between adult male and a young boy, so it was really classified material,
Still a very beautiful love story.
Yeah, as I said in his birthday interview with the papers, I think yesterday or a few days ago, everybody thinks he's doing something ugly and controversial, but to him, he's trying to make the world more beautiful, and spread love and compassion and tolerance against, so, yeah.
No, he's very beautiful thinking mind, actually very positive.
Maybe you have to censor some of the things I said. You have to censor it, maybe.
No, it's about Mekas. Nothing should be censored. So there's music playing behind us. They've been playing songs with his poetry? No?
Yes.
Yes, both his compositions and his poetry.
So I'm standing here with
Þórunn Valdimarsdóttir, Vladimir Valdimarsdóttir.
And you've written about Mekas as well?
Well, yeah, we have written 2 books together. A child biography a long time ago, and then we did write a book, a wonderful book. It took 20 years, like Darwin's masterpiece, for us to find a publisher, because it was too gross.
Why was it too gross?
Because it was masculinist, anti-feminist, or mainly, as we understood finally, gender studies had taken feminism a bit further. So we realized through these wonderful ladies' liberation, through history of ideology, and the time does move on. That's why everybody loves Mekas now. Everybody who did hate him a long time ago, mostly grandmothers and mothers and so on. But that book was such a wonderful piece, because it's about this wonderful day 30 plus years ago when all the women in Iceland went on strike. I was too scared to go, because I'm really a guy, and I'm really scared of women en masse. So maybe I triggered this, but this book didn't sell. It had a terrible publisher, and it's untranslatable. So you better learn Icelandic, you darling rest of the world. It's a masterpiece.
And why is Mekas so important in Icelandic culture now?
Because, well, it resonates. There used to be horrible regime here, nationalistic, because we newly liberated colony, we totally worshipped Icelandic tongue and well, I guess all sorts of idols and Christianity and so on. So Mekas was this wonderful taboo breaker, well, he and Guðbergur Bergsson totally made me manage to go on after a child. As a child, I had a teacher who was terribly nationalistic. My parents were, I guess, pretty okay, sort of, and so I managed to live on through his iconoclasm and Guðbergur Bergsson's too. I mean, this was a really fucked up island ideologically. So, I mean, that's what we're celebrating now. I guess our idol, it's really history. It's history, the essence of history, of ideology. It's since forever. It takes time for the now to go wherever it goes. Maybe not up, maybe not east, maybe not down. But anyway, usually when somebody, I think we all agree on sort of freedom, democracy. We are horrible apes. We have to have each other in control, and we have to break barriers and we have to go back to a body. And I love young people now. I mean, being a really old woman myself, I really admire young people, even the scraping hair off in all strange places. Being a woodcut myself, I think it's wonderful how liberated, I guess, the pain of me and Megas and our generation, and his and mine. I'm a bit younger, you know. It's paid back. So scream, fix, be a crocus, go through the snow.
Break all the rules. Break all the rules.
Darling, yeah.
So Mekas has an important place in people's hearts because he's telling people to break rules, would you say?
Well, darling, like he wrote this song about Ragnheiður, the bishop's daughter. It's been made an opera lately, really about love and and well, he said she had that hole that Daði, her lover, loved to use. This was iconoclasm when we were young. So God bless the hole. It's number 13. Only we women got it. It's number 13.
He also brought in a new kind of deity, you know, that God is everywhere, in everything. He is in your tools, yeah, in your garden hose. God is there. God is everywhere. So yeah.
Býr í garðslöngunni amma.
So
Geymdu handa mér megar blómið amma. Be a granny myself, I like.
and me eight times grandfather, you know. So
Do you know much about Mekas?
Yes, he's been a favorite of mine for a long time. When I was in gymnasium, it was the first time I heard a disc by him or a record by him. And then many people were saying, well, he's Iceland's answer to Bob Dylan. But in a way it's true, but at the same time he's quite original, very Icelandic. And he's at some periods he's been very controversial in Iceland, but now I think everybody loves him, which is how like Bob Dylan is universally acclaimed. Megas is universally acclaimed in Iceland. Nobody says anymore that he's too shady or difficult or something.
And has his music changed much over the years? Like recently, has it changed?
No, I don't think so. It has Icelandic roots, and also his lyrics. They are constantly quoting the sagas and old poetry from the 18th century and the 17th century. He's very literary minded, and he's also a painter. He's done a lot of painting, so he has many talents.
And do you feel that Mekas has had a strong influence on Icelandic culture?
Yeah, I think that's certain. For example, Björk was a friend of his, and she sang backstage voices on some of his records. And he was a sort of, he inspired the punk scene in Iceland quite a lot.
And has he done anything more, I don't know, classical?
Well, yeah, he made his own version of the Passion hymns of the 17th century by Hallgrímur Pétursson, and his son made the arrangements. His son is a componist called Þórður Magnússon, and there they used strings and stuff like that. And some of it was a bit like Stephen Foster, the American composer, and some of it was more like a Hollywood musical. But you could say that it's more classical in a way.
Martugar þíns fóstur svo þyrna ljótt, þú felur því illu skal leyna, en mundu að lífið létta sótt, lengi skal manninn reyna. fátt eitt þú megnir og flest sé tál og frækorð þín hrjóti steina þá mundu að lífið leyndarmál lengi skal manninn reyna
Ef dregar að Kristur þitt traust og hald í tötrum vörðrættur á fleina þá mundu að lífið lausnar gjald lengi skal manninn reyna þótt besefinn virðist þér brunnið gat sem brotna neglið hreina þá mundu að lífið lekku fall lengi skal manninn reyna
Ef bagar þig hugsun börn og þras og botna sem hönd þín má skeina þá mundu að lífið lambagras lengi skal manninn reyna
Ef hjúskapinn eitrar rái stíl það nýtur í bandvana sveina þá mundu að lífið leigubíll lengi skal manninn reyna Ef syndraði illa